So it's very interesting. The Atlanta Falcons general manager wants to draft a quarterback, according to Chris Mortensen. The new coach, Arthur Smith, says, no. Matt Ryan's fine. He's 35. He's got a lot of good years left. I agree with the coach, not the GM. So anytime in the moment, like my wife and I, she's struggling with something, I always say, this is my rule. If I would have given you what's happening today 10 years ago, go back a decade, and I said, this is our reality today, would you take it? And my wife, we got 6 kids, 2 are mine, 4 hers, mixed family, right? And sometimes she'd be like, oh, the day-to-day vagaries of having kids, right? The struggles and the hardships. And I always say to her, okay, if I'd have told you 10 years ago, my son is this just joyful, loving tech whiz. We got 1 in Vermont Prep Academy. 1 played lacrosse in college. 1's a chef. 1 got an academic scholarship at a university, and 1 is going to an amazing school out east. Would you have bought that 10 years ago? I know where we were with these kids 10 years ago. I'd have bought that 10 years ago. Don't get caught up in the day-to-day struggles, because raising kids is hard. Like, right, you're going to have bad weeks. You know, the old joke is the days are long and the years fly by with kids. But the days, let me tell you, folks, they're long. They're long days with kids. They're kids, right? They're learning. They're growing. Their brains don't function completely yet. They're not all developed. And so the guy that wants to get rid of Matt Ryan, let me ask you this. I'm not even going to count Matt Ryan with Kyle Shanahan when he won the MVP. I'm not going to count that. I'm not going to count that. For my argument, I won't. Because nobody gets the #1 offensive coordinator for most of their career. I'm not going to count it. I'm going to go the last 4 years after Kyle Shanahan. Matt Ryan, 96 passer rating, 66% completion percentage, 286 yards per game, 4th in the NFL, 2.5 times the touchdowns as picks. By the way, that's with 2 coordinators, Dirk Cutter and Sark. That's not ideal. So he's had multiple systems to learn. Matt Ryan's problem is stylistically, he does not look like what we want our quarterbacks to look like now. We have these big, strong-armed mobile quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Mahomes. And if you don't have one of them, you're like, wait, I don't like that. And I get it. You know, grass always greener. But the division Matt Ryan plays in, and this league's about winning your division first, has been dominated by pocket quarterbacks. Breeze and Matt Ryan have won the division each of the last 5 years, and now it's owned by Brady, another pocket guy. Atlanta's only done one thing well the last 3 to 4 years: pass. They do nothing else well. They pass. And Matt Ryan, in the last 4 years, has led the NFL in attempts, completions, and passing yards. Now think about that. That goes back to my initial 10-year argument. Do you believe, if you're the GM of Atlanta, if you draft Trey Lance, and that's reportedly who he wants, and I think he's talented. I like Trey Lance. But do you believe that Trey Lance, in his entire career for a 4-year period, will lead the NFL in attempts, completions, and passing yards? Even if he's good, that's highly unlikely. Of the 131 quarterbacks drafted since 2010, 11 have been hits. 11. So ask yourself, would you have years ago, when Kyle Shanahan left, half decade ago, if I said to you, yeah, Matt's going to lead the league in attempts, completions, and passing yards, and basically be the only positive element to your football team, you want to get rid of that? Derek Carr is the only thing saving the Raiders. Matt Ryan's the only thing saving Atlanta. Go look at the 14 quarterbacks who made the playoffs last year. I would take Matt Ryan over at least half of them. Phillip Rivers, Big Ben, Baker, Alex Smith, Trubisky, Goff, and even Tannehill. Because I think Tannehill, now that Arthur Smith is gone, will go down. Again, if you live in the moment, Matt Ryan stylistically doesn't look like what you kind of think the NFL is becoming. And I get that. I absolutely get that. This team does nothing well, though, except pass. That's all they do well. That is it. And Trey Lance could be terrific. But Atlanta could literally. Sam Darnold got 3 picks, 2 great ones. Do you know what you could get for that 4th pick to move out? You could get multiple first-rounders. Outside of one defensive tackle, you don't have anybody on defense anybody's afraid of. Joey Taylor with the news.